Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get this started. Let me get my hat on. Alright, first question. What is your opinion on a greasing the groove approach for heavy barbell movements, i.e. squatting every day? Is there any advantage to squatting or benching or deadlifting every day, or would it be excessive loading for a natural athlete? I know there could be some advantages when using this approach for bodyweight exercises like pull-ups, but I'm skeptical about loads heavier than body weight. Alright, interesting question. I'm not even sure how to answer this one. Obviously, there's things like Bulgarian training, which you do training maxes every day on big heavy barbell movements, which have their benefits. But something like greasing the groove is a little bit different, because greasing the groove is normally done with bodyweight exercises, particularly pull-ups and chin-ups. For those unfamiliar with it, it's something Russian coach Pavel Tausalin came up with to get people to be strong enough to do 20 chin-ups or 20 pull-ups. That was the idea behind it. It's a concept of using sub-maximum loads for extreme frequency to build work capacity on bodyweight exercises. Now, hypothetically speaking, could you do this on squats or deadlifts? Yeah, you absolutely could. It might be a little crazy to do it, but if someone wanted to get really, really good at rep work on squats and deadlifts without burning out, it might be an interesting approach. I don't know if anyone's ever done this. I've heard of people doing it on the overhead press or like the behind the neck press and having success, but with a big movement, that's going to be hard to call. How would you go about it though? The same way you would with chin-ups. You would basically take something like a 10 rep max on a squat or a deadlift. That's what I would recommend. Whatever weight you want to get to where you could do 20 reps with, that's basically what you would do. So if you have a 10 rep max on the squat of 300 pounds, or deadlift of 300 pounds, it doesn't matter, let's just pick an exercise, and you wanted to get strong enough to do 20 rep sets with that exercise, because there's something to be said for 20 rep squats or deadlifts to put a serious amount of mass onto you. I wouldn't necessarily do this just for endurance work, because you're still moving big loads. But if you wanted to do it to get better for hypertrophy, to where you could do 20 rep sets easier on some of these, okay, it's reasonable. I would take something like, again, like your 10 rep max. If you wanted to get it to 20 reps, maybe consider doing it this way. What that would mean, you take that 10 rep max at 300 pounds and you come in and you do 4 or 5 rep sets with it. But you don't just do it once. You would really have to have a squat rack or a deadlift platform set up at home, because what you would do, spaced out through the day, you would need to do your 5 rep set at least 3 times a day. At least 3 times a day. And it would work very, very well if you do it that way. In theory, for building your work capacity on that exercise, because you've got to remember, there's no major impact on your recovery to do in 5 rep sets with a weight you could do for 10. All right, it's going to hit your recovery a little bit, but not too much. Now, maybe the deadlift might be excessive. I could see someone getting away with this on the squat, though. Deadlift would be a little tougher. I could see someone burning out on this. Now, if you guys remember, I was doing a deadlift everyday program. If you guys remember what I was doing, working with about 80 to 85% of my max, right? And I would do 5 singles every day with it. And I was doing that every single day, and it got to where my deadlift strength just got really good, and I got to where I quit warming up on deadlifts after that. A lot of people are like, oh my god, I can't believe you don't warm up on deadlifts. Well, I got used to coming in the cold. I was living in England. I had this in my garage, and I got so used to pulling 85% of my max for singles and doing 5 singles every day, and I would come in and do them a couple minutes apart. I would pull a single, wait a couple minutes, pull a single, and I would just do my 5 singles and quit. And that was something I was doing every day for a while. But what I found on that, for me, the benefit was that I was just strong whenever I needed to be strong. I didn't need to warm up, didn't need to stretch and do stuff, because it kept my body in a situation to where I was so used to pulling 85% of my deadlift max every day, just randomly at random times of the day, that it just got to where I didn't need to warm up. My body was just used to being ready to pull heavy. So there could be something to that, doing something like that as well. But the deadlift, I would be a little scared to be coming in and do rep work several times every day, even at 5 reps with a 10 rep max. But squats, you could totally do greasing the groove and get away with it. again, kind of depends on the situation. I don't know. We're getting into experimental territory with here. You know what I would say? Try it and report back. All right, next question. I can't seem to progress. I've been stuck at the same weight PR for years. I'm doing your novice program for almost 2 years. I've been gaining a kilogram a month. I've been stuck at squatting 80 to 100 kilograms the past 12 months. I can't seem to progress. I'm 20 at 83 kilos body weight. My bench has been stuck at 60 kilograms. All right, brother. You're clearly not a no-gainer. Now, I've seen your photos, and you still definitely look like a novice. There's no insult, not intending to insult. Let's just give an honest assessment of where you are. I've almost got to wonder if there's something else going on in your life. But I would say to you, brother, because you haven't gained a lot of muscle yet, you're gaining weight and you're still stalling on a proven program like this, and you've been stalling a really long time. I'm a little worried about you, like not as in you've got bad genetics or anything crazy, because that's probably not the case. It's a case of you might want to go see a doctor and get a full physical and checkup done. Because if you're eating enough to gain weight, you're running a proven program like I'm doing, and you really feel you're giving it your honest best, and you're not gaining strength, and you really are trying, because it sounds like you're trying. I think it's time to go get a physical done. You need to get a checkup, get some blood work. There could be something physically wrong, meaning certain signs that you're not progressing in your exercise in a normal pattern, or you're not recovering correctly from training and things like that, when there's no other lifestyle factors contributing. Maybe you're not partying a lot, you're not getting sleep deprived. There's no other explanation for really slow progress. That's a sign that maybe there's something wrong physically. Maybe you have an undiagnosed illness, and sometimes these illnesses could be dangerous. It could be something like a tumor, could be pulling some of your energy. Maybe you could have some type of diabetes going on. There's a lot of different factors at play. But if you've been stuck at weights like that for that long, and you know you're gaining weight, you say you're gaining a kilo a month now, you're running a proven effective program, I'm going to recommend that you go see your medical doctor. Because to me, that's a red flag. That's a red flag that you might have an undiagnosed medical condition. Okay, and you got to take stuff like that seriously, because something is wrong with your body's recovery at this point. You're either partying really hard, or you're not taking the program seriously, or there could be something wrong with you, because maybe you're doing everything right. And like I said, you've been running the program almost 2 years. No, something's wrong, brother. Maybe go get a checkup. And just to be on the safe side, you need to make sure there isn't something physically wrong with your body, that you don't have some undiagnosed medical issue, because it could be something else. It could be maybe a muscular dystrophy could be going on, multiple sclerosis. There's a lot of different diseases that they start out very small, little small warning signs that you don't pick up on. All right, and people do get afflicted with these things, and maybe you stalling on my program is that warning sign that you need to get in and see a doctor. And maybe if you got an illness and you catch it soon enough, they can do something about it. So just to be on the safe side, when someone tells me something like this, I'd like for them to go talk to a medical professional, because something's not right. All right, next question. Do you think that the current fitness trend of hiring a coach, most of which aren't even trained or experienced coaches, is hindering the individual's capabilities of being analytical and self-critical when it comes to their own development? Especially since a lot of the pop culture Instagram coaches do not really teach their clients why they're doing the stuff they are, since most aren't returning customers. Yeah, I think this is definitely interfering with people's development. I can understand some people needing to hire a coach for a little while. But a lot of people, I think it's flat laziness. For a lot of people, it's trendy to hire a coach. All right, they want to be able to tell everyone they've hired a coach, they've hired this person, they've hired that person. They get starstruck. Like, people assume that just because people are on YouTube, that they do know everything. And I mean, even I get that to some extent. I understand. I'm a decently knowledgeable guy. I'm not the most knowledgeable person in the world, but I'm fairly smart. I have a fairly good body of information here available. But people come to me with questions sometimes that I'm overwhelmed that they have that type of confidence in me. I mean, I'm humbled when that happens. But I get people who ask very serious medical questions and things, and I'm like, brother, I'm not qualified to answer that. And if I were to try to answer that for you, I could be hurting you, and I don't want that sort of responsibility. I'm flattered that you would think that highly of me, and it's appreciated and it's humbling, but you might want to go talk to a specialist, not even a regular MD. You need to see a specialist over that. And people do that. They get starstruck with internet personalities. And truth is, man, some of these internet personalities, these coaches really don't even know that much. And yeah, they get followings and people hire them just because of the starstruck thing. Just because of the starstruck thing. So it is what it is. But yeah, it does kind of stop people because it lets them put this into someone else's hands and for them to take it out of their own and, not take the time to learn the things that they need to learn personally on their fitness journey to make their own progress and to do better with what they're doing. Because they're kind of just hiring someone else and letting them do it instead of taking the time to really learn for themselves. So yeah, I think it is a negative thing in a way. And it's great for certain people that they can create an economy around their knowledge. But it is stopping people from learning the stuff that they need to learn. All right, next question, and then I'm going to have to return this phone call I just got. All right. Training in the morning versus the evening. Is there an advantage? As I seen in an article, the testosterone is higher in the evening and cortisol is lower compared to the morning. I'm a morning lifter as I'm a morning person and prefer the gym when it's quiet. You know what, brother, don't worry about all these little transient fluctuations in hormones. This stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's not going to affect your progress. Don't worry about your testosterone and cortisol and all this stuff. It isn't going to meaningfully impact your training. In fact, we could argue, some people say, well, I have better energy when I train morning or better energy at night. I can lift a little heavier. Okay, that's fine. If you want to use that because you find that motivational, do so. But you know what? If you're training when you're a little fatigued in the evening from work or you're groggy in the morning, your body will adapt to that eventually. You're still working at a given percentage of your current max. You're still working at a given rate of perceived exertion. It doesn't matter if you're 5 pounds stronger on the deadlift in the morning versus the evening. The perceived loading and the percentage of your maxes at that time of day in your programs are all that's going to matter, really. It isn't going to make or break you or make a significant difference when you train in that regard. Now, motivation is a big deal. Motivation's a big deal. So if you're training better, if you feel more motivated, more consistent to train in the morning for either energy reasons, the social reasons, or the gym environment, then do so. If you're going to be more consistent, more motivated in the evening, then do so. But the thing is, the most important thing is making sure that you get in there at a time when you feel motivated to do so. And if your schedule doesn't give you the option, then at least get in there because you're in there putting in the work, and that's what ultimately matters. So you get in and train when you think it's best for you. Don't worry about all this outside data, this mumbo jumbo about transient fluctuations in hormones like testosterone, cortisol, all of that. It's not going to matter as far as your results go. That's just talk. It's not really relevant. There's never been any studies showing positive links between peaks in the day of these different hormones and it affecting your gains in the gym. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.